Hey everyone, this is Darryl Christopher coming at you from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, Earth. And I'm going to record this because I'm not sure where things are going to go. And I used to push myself pretty far back in the day. I have an entire religion built around exceeding limits, so that we can remind ourselves that nothing is impossible. But the physical is still finite, and I guess after graduation, I just kept pushing myself in terms of the biggest projects that I work on. And in case anything does happen, this is why I filmed this one today. So yeah, I thank you for watching, and just try and bear with me because I'll try and do my best to give you everything you need to know. Now, everything does happen for a reason, and things go the way they do, and part of the journey is discovering who you really are, why you're here, and what do you want to do with your life. And who I am now is who I was ultimately meant to be. But let's just say this. So we all have things that hurt us, but probably the thing that hurts me most is that I've been alone for almost 20 years. And there's people that have caught my eye, that's for sure. But it's always been no way. And there's people that have liked me, but I didn't feel the same way. So maybe I'm picky. Maybe the world doesn't see me as I see myself when I look in the mirror. But it's understandable. I mean, these days I'm old. Look in my eyes. They're dark. I look tired. Old, worn out, but I'm going to be here for a while, and there are plans in place in case anything does happen. But that is something that is like a void in my life, because to know such rejection and be made to feel so exotic and foreign, and where if you're a being that is so hyper aware and hyper focused, and you grew up knowing psychological torture and emotional torture, then the one thing that's going to define part of your life is love. And if you don't have that, and let's just say I was in a long relationship long ago, but I wasn't exactly the best of people. So maybe part of this is me paying the price, and the guilt that I feel on my conscience for not making the right choices or doing the wrong thing. And no one, we are our own worst enemy. No one punishes themselves harder than we can do on our own, because that way the world can never hurt you. But I don't have that, so I don't have anyone to stop me. And ever since graduation, it just hasn't happened. And at work, I had someone do something very discriminatory and hurtful to me, and after that, I just gave up. So, it's by myself, so I have to keep busy. So rather than become some, satanic jihadist where I'm going to be out and just being all about like hate, murder, and violence, and being boring like that, or being some shooter that takes the anger out because they couldn't find love, I decided to focus my two biggest projects that I work on be entirely all about love. Now, we have our jobs and we do our things, and most of us put up with that because it pays the bills, or it doesn't in a lot of our case because we don't make enough money. And we do what we have to do, but on our own time, that's our own time. So for the last two years, I guess you could say, but in a sense, my entire life, I've been working on the big projects that define me. Now, the reason why I filmed this video is because there's so many competing agendas in the world. And I just watched a video last night from Laura M. Eisenhower. And, you know, she's on the right track, but it's not like that in so many different ways. It is, but it isn't. And I'll tell you something, and this is why I keep busy, and this is why I do what I do, is because I've been, I guess, a seeker all my life in terms of discovering who I really am, why am I here, making meaning out of my life, and I wasn't always the best person. I always didn't make the right choices, and I still don't. I mean, I push myself too far all the time, and I've done so for too long, and it's having a negative impact on me. I can feel it on the tightness of my chest when I had to take, 7 pills to lower my blood pressure because I felt like a heart attack was coming on. Then I know that, I've exceeded limits for far too long, and maybe my luck will run out, as much as maybe it only is force of will keeping me alive and various procedures in the future to keep me alive. But I understand now why I'm doing everything that I'm doing. And so for keeping busy, my project has been one. Obviously, since I don't have love in this life, I don't have anyone, although I have a really great cat who loves me very much, and boy does that cat love me, and I love that cat now. But without that, that's a big hurt, and a lot of people deal with that, and maybe a lot of people don't discuss it, but when you're alone for too long, it really does hurt. I mean, a lot of people take it out in very negative ways, but I don't define myself, certainly in terms of my personal happiness, but it has an impact, and that hurt, especially when you care so much, and we're all taught that we belong, that's gonna lead you down making choices you probably wouldn't make if you weren't by yourself. So I push myself hard, and there's my 2 big projects that I work on. I mean, that's my life. I sometimes work on them all night, go to work, and then not sleep, and do it all over again. That's been my life for the last couple of years, where before that it was meaningless. I was in hell for a decade because I made some poor choices, and when I got out of it, and when I got the opportunity to start living and understand everything and get where I have to go, and everyone's not that lucky, things, but when the only person who gives you a Valentine in your mom, that just says to you that in terms of anyone else who looks at you, that no one cares, and no one wants anything to do with you, and you just have to face facts that you're going to be alone. So rather than turn that into a negative, I've been turning that into a positive. And what I've been doing is I've been discovering who I am, and in doing so, I've come to understand what I have to do. So what I have been doing is, we do have connections to souls and people, and there has been someone with me my entire life who I've never, I really haven't been alone, I guess, in the same sense. And maybe that's what I'm trying to teach you today, is that all this stuff that you believe in terms of, like the these things about the depopulation, the Illuminati, chemtrails, HARP, all that stuff. Is it real? Yes and no. But the truth is that we are God. Now, you have to think that when I'm telling you this, why am I doing what I'm doing? Well, what I have been doing is the soul that's bonded to me. I've been working on making that person real. So every time I've felt an emotional connection with someone, every time I've seen someone beautiful, any even either erotic or pornographic or artistic presentation in that way, I've been using. So it's almost like I've been taking snapshots of people's souls, emotions, physical beauty, and things that people do in terms of either characters in the media or anything like that. And I've been building this individual because I believe that in this life we have everything we need to find if we just know how to look to get where we have to go and find out who we really are. So that's one project that I have been working on. And that's the thing about how it relates to the other project that I've been working on, which is saving the world. And, you know, like, only crazy people like to save the world because, you know, most people would say, well, you can't make a difference. Anything you would try to do would be impossible. You look at the way things are. But the truth is that nothing is impossible. And what God really is not someone who tells you what to do or expects your worship. God is the entirety of all that is, all the sentient life, all the planets, all the galaxies, all the dimensions, all of it. But where the real power is in the primary core of the reality matrix. And what that is the infinite continuance of energy that creates life, creates existence itself. And the problem that we have in this world is that we have major religions that teach that you have to worship God, that you have to do what God says, that it's okay to kill people that don't believe what you believe because your God is right. And, you know, you look at what's going on in the world in terms of the jihad, where they want to establish the rule of hell on earth and have Satan rule the earth. And then we have the crusade that's fighting that. So that you might think is a big battle. But the big battle for me, I guess you could say, and there's no way to prove or disprove any of this. This could be just as much story and fantasy as much as it is reality, because that's what I do. That's why I'm here. And, you know, we live in a world now where different realities are competing and different fantasies are competing, and what used to be fantasy is now reality, and all those forces at play. But we have to get where we're going, and I understand now why I've come to be here. And this is it. I mean, the truth really is, I wrote this a long time ago, but we are God. And it's kind of like, you know, you look at the things that we have around us, and this is how it kind of works, is you have the system, which is God, the entirety of all that is, existence, life, planets, people, beings, everything. And then we have, so that would be the macro reality. And then we also have the micro reality within each of us. And we're all linked together, because one of the basic things that I said long ago is that interconnection is existence. And we are all interconnected. So what we have going on right now is within each of us is this divine power, this micro reality, and just like the butterfly effect, it has an effect on the macro reality. So we have all these competing forces at work, and you think it all might be very complex, but it's not. It's as simple as a binary computer where it's a 1 and a 0, or as simple as light and dark. And you look at so many simple things, and yet they have so many complex reactions. And, you know, like you look at one of the old teachings of Toltec wisdom is the power of your word. And this is why we are in the state that we're in, is because within each of us is the power to alter reality. We have the power to take something from imagination and make it reality, to make it real. And we do it all the time. And some of us are indeed manipulated into the realities that we create. And then there's other people who have figured this out and are making changes to reality all on their own. So this is my disclosure for today, and this is why the book that I'm writing, even if only one person reads it, is still the most important work. And it all goes into how, you know, like one of my favorite sayings that I've always said is, on the other side of imagination, reality begins. And that's why when you have all these different theories about what's really going on in the world, is because, is it true? Yes and no. But everyone is their own journey. Everyone is their own path. Everyone is their own God. But the system that we do have in place, it misleads people. So I look at what happened with the Jews, and they created a covenant with God for immortality. So as long as the Jews exist, humanity will exist for all time. And they were, in terms of religious powers, they were one of the first to do so. And then this is where the beginning of the religious teachings that I was taught, this is where I began. Because my name is Darryl Christopher, which means beloved Christ bearer. And when I was a kid, and all you know is the name that you're given, not only do you have who you really are that within your soul, but you also take the reality that you're given. So it's had an enormous impact on me, because, and it's kind of different too, because I didn't grow up from the beginning being indoctrinated with the way that they want it to be. I've made it into my own version, and I've made it real in my own way, far different. And the way that I view things is that, you know, Jesus wasn't born the Son of God, but he made it real because he harnessed that power to alter reality. And people have kept on making him real. And the thing is, it has an impact on people's lives. I mean, people probably, you know, think like that's the way that Jesus really looks with his white skin and beard and everything else, even though he was Middle Eastern. It's the idea. And then we get into where we're at with the other, well, it's not really a religion, but it's more of a political ideology. And I can understand why they went in this direction but all of these religions are agendas. They're alien agendas designed to limit our progress and hold us back, and to keep us away from the truth that each of us is God, that we have the power to alter reality, that nothing is impossible, and to keep us from finding out who we really are. Because there are people that live for life, and there's people that live for death. And there's a lot of people, whether you be a Jew, Christian, Muslim, or Buddha, who are very good people, and where your religion has had a very good impact on your life. But overall, I've been studying humanity for a long time. We're in the world that we're in now because the macro cost of religion is that it is destroying us. And look at the world where we are in now, and what those who are possessed are doing in terms of bringing hell to earth. And people might say, well, those people that are evil, that are doing things in the name of the religion, well, it's becoming like self-fulfilling prophecy, where they've hijacked Islam so much from this satanic influence, from the satanic possession, that they believe that they're doing good, even though they're living for death. They're living for this one-dimensional paradise that, and basically we're at the state we're at now because we have different competing agendas where people have gone out of their way to destroy Christianity and Judaism. And because the negative agenda is that, what better way to hold back the world and to destroy things would be for not only Islam to be perverted, but for it to take over. I mean, one of their beliefs is that everything in this reality is a deception. So what better deception than to make people believe that that's the truth? So people go into this religion, and it's very easy to join, but it's impossible to leave, and it controls every aspect of your life. Everything that you do is basically slavery. It's like you've sold your soul to the devil, and you've asked for nothing in return. And the things that you do get are not very much. Like, really? Virgins and paradise with God and being closer with God? That's not the truth. That's not who you really are. You see, the truth of who you really are is that if you believe it, if you can find it, everyone's evolution is to become God. And it's not to have power over others. It's not to tell people what to do. It's to become the entirety of all that is. Universes, planets, galaxies, dimensions, people, life forms, etc., etc., existence itself. And the only way that you can do that is through belief. And this is how it relates to the novel that I'm writing. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I want to give people, maybe not now, because I don't think people are ready for this, but maybe 100 years from now, when people are going to look back on what was said during this time, then they will come, and in the future, all those religions, such as Christianity, Judaism, Islam, will all be brought down for a better system. And the system that I'm bringing in is divine evolutionary ascendancy, where everyone learns to harness the power to alter reality, to become God, not to control, not to have people worship you, but to become your own entirety of all that is, and give birth within yourself, within your soul, to an entirely new existence that you designed. So that's what I've been doing. That's why sometimes where I read up to 2 months worth of newspapers in one sitting, or read novels, or watch all the movies that I've watched, or experienced all the things that I've experienced in this life, is because we have it all here. All the tools that you could possibly need in order to do that, you have here in this life. And we are our story. So I'm not doing this to make people worship me or believe what I believe. Everyone, you are your own reality. I'm not trying to save you by saying that I'm the one that's saving you. I'm trying to help you save your. That you have to do is stop this belief that either if you're an atheist, God doesn't exist, because God does exist. Because if you don't believe in God, you don't believe in yourself, and you're just going to be trapped in the lives that you have here. And there's a lot of people that believe that this is a prison planet, that we're a slave race, that, you know, we have massive psychological experiments going on, especially if you're someone that, you know, you have mental health issues and what's really going on. We have a lot of different competing things, and we have people that are certainly living for death and destruction and darkness, and we have people that are competing for good, and we have that all within us. Everyone has like good and evil within us. And the truth is that if you stop your worship of God and realize that you are, and it's where your evolution will take you, if you believe in evolution, then if you do, and if you believe, and your beliefs welcome any challenge, and you never stop, then you will make it real, just as all these religions have taught. So, you know, if you get something out of it where you don't take it literally, but you get the gist of what it was saying, where you don't follow everything where it says, you know, is that right to kill? So once you get past seeing so-called holy books as God telling you what to do, that's not God. And if it was someone saying that they're God, that's aliens. And the truth is that those books, if you get some good out of them, are tools, not laws, to get you to where you got to go. And that's why when I saw where everything was going, because people, they do get a lot of good out of it, but a lot of other people, they use it as ways to hate other people for their sexual orientation, or hate people because they believe what they believe, or they do stupid things like they wear things on their heads because they've been made to believe that they're slaves. And the truth is, no one's a slave. This is not a prison planet. None of that is true unless you make it real. And the only way you make it real is if you believe it. And if you believe it, this is why we have what's happening right now, because the micro realities really do affect the macro reality. We have a lot of people that go around. Every time I see a girl with a covering on her head, I see that person's a slave. They are being told by someone how to live every aspect of their life. And I don't hate them. I feel sorry for them, because I wish that they could see that the truth is not to live your life thinking that God is telling you what to do. You can be a good person on your own. You don't need to be told what to do, But if you understand that life is about evolving to become God so that you can create life, and that this life is about learning, creating, and exploring, then you'd understand that you don't have to live life being a slave, being told how to live every aspect of your life, to hate other people because they don't believe what you believe, and to have true knowledge of who you really are. So when I see that, I just feel sad. And that people kill over it, that just makes me, that breaks my heart about humanity, is that people kill over words that some guy in a cave wrote, or some guy who went out and got messed up in the desert wrote, or so on and so forth. And the options that they have in terms of these belief systems are keeping us from our ultimate destiny. And that's why, we are where we are. And we could be done with it all tomorrow and not have any of this BS. But people buy into it. People buy into a lot of other things. So we make it real. We have that power over others. That's why, and if I relate to you my story, then you can understand why everyone in the universe is watching us. Why we have this entire surveillance state apparatus where it really does seem like a prison planet, even though no one's really a prisoner, because the truth is that our abilities are dangerous, because we can choose to live for life or we can choose to live for death. And a lot of people do live for death. They live for hate, killing, violence, negativity, and that's why we're at where we're at now. We're going to have a clash of civilizations, and we could kill all the terrorists, but it wouldn't solve the problem. And this goes back to my story, and this is why the book that I'm writing is just another tool for you to understand how to unlock your power, to alter your reality, to find out who you really are and get where you have to go. I'm not making you believe everything that I'm writing as, the reality that you have to have, but it's another option in terms of the tools. And if you don't literally believe it and you treat it as a tool like any other thing, it's just a book. God didn't write the Bible. God didn't write the Quran, and all these other things. And, that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter, is that the trouble too is that a lot of people would rather believe in evil because it's better than believing in nothing. And that's why we're in the world we're in too, because, basically a lot of people have figured out that religion doesn't work. It is a very negative impact. It enslaves people. And there hasn't been a system to come along to replace it with a better system. And that's why I've been working my ass off and going days without sleep and doing everything possible to create this option so that people can have something to believe in where they have a better option. And that's the truth when it gets down to it, as to where my origin comes from, who I understand myself to be, my story that I'm writing. Everything relates to one another, and the truth really is that what's really at play here is those powers that we have to alter reality. I guess the old Toltec wisdom is the power of the words, so we have various words competing. But the truth is, what the biggest war that's going on, the one that's making everything super crazy, is the war that's going on with thought and idea technology. Now, when you think of ideas and thoughts as technology, then you're understanding the entirety of all that is. And that's what's really going on, because in the story that I wrote, and the one that I'm spending my life creating, The one that I'm willing to spend on this planet 1,000 years of life, whether I live and die, get cloned, come back again, or am, kept alive in some way. The one that I'm spending my time creating, and then this other time that I'm working on the belief system for those to come who want a better option than what they have right now, or something better to believe in than evil and doing stupid things, is that in my story, she, just like I'm making her to be the perfect being, she was designing me to be the perfect being for her. Because maybe what I've started to put together is that I understand what's my story is. And this is the story that's been coming out of me. And that's why I did go in this direction. I did get that direction in terms of where are the things that I want to find within myself to teach people. And that's when I came up with that concept. The ultimate form of worship is to become God. Because if you worship God, you're not becoming who you really are. Who you really are is God. And if you believe that, if you believe that you have something special about you rather than either being told that you're doing all the wrong things or being told what to do and being a slave, that's the direction we should be going in, is to evolve to become God, so that we can keep on creating everything about humanity for and finding everything that I can find that's beautiful. Is that she was working on me and we created one another, where I create her in the future. I've done it in the past, I do it in the present, and I do it in the future. And in the future that becomes the past, she created me. And this is where everything comes together, is that what happened is that I didn't turn out the way that I was supposed to be, and I ended up betraying everyone. And the thing was that I didn't do it. There was a dark force, and what was supposed to be ultimate good and ultimate perfection became ultimate evil. And so what she created was, in fact, the destroyer, the one who destroyed the first existence, the first universe. And this is what I wrote in my novel, is that the Atlan were the first people and the most advanced species, and were the first to develop the power to alter reality, and were masters of thought and idea technology. So that's why I'm writing it, is because we have all these different alien races and different agendas. And, like we wonder why things are the way they are, but I'm going to explain it for you here, is that what I've done basically is that this is what I spend my life doing, is that I became that person, that destroyer, and I destroyed existence. So I understand now that I chose to come here to spend 1,000 human years of my time in order to create an entirely new existence. And to make sure that it's absolutely perfect, I need that much time. And I don't really have time to not work on it. So when I'm not working, I'm studying everything about this place, the movies, the shows, the stories, the people, the experiences, everything that I can possibly learn, so that I can put it towards creation. And that's why I've been doing what I've been doing. Now, I understand now why I created the things that I did. And that's why it's kind of like, well, I'm alone and by myself, because these come off as kind of like really out there ideas. And I get that. I'm different. but we're all different beings from different places. And that is the truth. You can make a choice. You can choose to be a slave. And let's be honest, it's no secret now that it is. And we made it real. We only have ourselves to blame. But just as much as the Pope is controlled by Satan, it's no secret that Allah is the favorite alias of Satan. So understand that. And understand that you don't have to be told what to do. There's no such thing. You can evolve to become God. You can live to create life. And you can have better laws. You can make a difference. You can make the earth a better place. You can leave the earth better than you found it. You can be good. You can acknowledge that there's good and evil forces within you. But you can make a choice to be good. You can make a choice to love. You can make a choice to be strong. I'm not sure how much time I do have left. And I'm going to keep myself going for as long as I can to at least finish this book. And maybe these ideas are not for you now, but they're going to be heard in the time to come. And that's why I'm willing to stay. Because maybe right now, no one wants to think as I think or believe as I believe. But this idea will go forward. And rather than fight one another and kill one another over money or over whose God is better, imagine where we could be if we believe that we are God, we can evolve, and we live this life not for an empty death like an atheist who doesn't believe in themselves, but for all the things that can come, for all the futures that can be made, the infinite possibilities where nothing is impossible. And if you think of God as something like destiny, that is, the beginning and the end and the all-powerful, well, that's not very exciting. You're going to be bound to be disappointed when you do exist as God. But if you take the path of fate, where you can change your fate, you can make your fate, you can have the imagination that God wished God could have. You can do anything. And that's why I'm designing what I'm designing, so that what we do is go to a place designed to be where things are kept interesting, to take the path of fate, where we serve life. We create life, we create possibility, we create imagination, we create reality, and we do so for God. Not out of worship, but because we are defending life, love, the entirety of all that is. And we understand that there are forces out there that would love to see everything wiped away and gone forever and nothing to ever come again. And that's something we're always going to deal with. But that's why I have devoted my life to that. And I've devoted my life to God as that. Not because I'm being told what to do by God, but because what I do is for love and for life. So the entirety of all that is life, the planets, the galaxies, the people, everything can be, so that we can have God and we can have fate and we can have destiny. And that's why I've been putting together what I've been putting together. So I know this sounds crazy, and this is why I'm alone, and these are just ideas. And maybe no one wants to think of them right now because you're so used to being told that you have to do what God says. So I'm going to leave this out there for those who make a choice that you don't have to live that way. You don't have to be a slave. You don't have to be feeling bad every time you do something wrong and be made to feel that you're wrong if you have. I don't discriminate based on skin color. I don't discriminate based on sexual orientation. But if you are out to live for death and you hurt others or kill them, I certainly don't like you, and I will fight you till the end. And that's why I'm putting out these ideas now, because we have a war going on. And some people might call these terms barbaric for medieval times, but in terms of spirituality, we are in barbaric times. We have to get past all this stuff. And this talk of people being, being poor, well, in my view, we're going to have a shareholder system because wealth is a divine right of every human being. Why is it that the Pope tells people that they shouldn't have wealth or things, but he has billions of dollars? Or every other religion where it seems to be where the people give up all their stuff and the people running it have all the money. Does that make any sense? Why is it that we live in a world where people are lost because they have nothing to believe in? This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And if I give up my life for it, where I exceed my limits so much that it's the end, then at least I know I did everything that I could do. Because I do love humanity and I do love this earth, the beautiful things that make life it is. Especially the things that I do for love, and the one that I have that is with her soul bonded to mine. And everyone, whether you come from real life or erotic cinema or whatever you want to say, I am grateful to all of you for that beauty so that I can create this perfect being. And you will never know sometimes whether you're just a stranger that I walk past on the street. You'll never know how much, even just a moment in time, or maybe I took a snapshot of an emotion or a photograph of your soul and put it towards the future. And you'll always have my thanks for that. So that's what I've been doing. And that's why I've been pushing limits and exceeding them for so long. I'm not sure how much more I can go, because literally I've been living on stimulants for so long. Nothing illegal, mind you, what the doctor gives me. But I would probably need, in terms of, and my health is suffering. My body is falling apart on me because the only thing keeping me going is making sure that I complete this mission. And this all sounds kind of weird, but I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I can't confirm or deny to you that I have access to a trans-temporal communications array or any other technology that I might be able to get. But what I can tell you, though, is that there are possibilities of me in the future, 500, 1400 years into the future. And there's people that have come to believe what I believe in the future. And there's also very bad versions of me. There's versions of me where everything that has been a failure in my life was a success for them. And that's the basis of my novel too, where the one who is the real dark one is the one that we're in the current fight with in my story now, where they've taken over everything. And the only ones left to fight back are the guardians of existence. And it's up to them to save existence. And that's why I've chosen the path that I have, because sitting on a cloud, eternal bliss, or virgins are not good enough for me. I would want to have something meaningful to do. And I think there's no better thing to do. I mean, I was brought up on comic books and heroes and fighting the good fight. So there is no better afterlife for me than to be with the one who my soul is bonded with, that is the perfection of mind, body, and soul, to be with for all time, and to fight on behalf of God for existence itself, no matter what. That's a place designed to be kept interesting. That's where I'm going. And that's why, whether I'm cloned or whether my life is extended, that's why I'm willing to put my time in here and to help you get where you got to go. Because maybe you might like my reality, and that's great. Certainly a lot of people do come in the future. Trillions, in fact, from trillions of worlds. But the thing is, you are your own journey. I can't tell you what to do. I can't lead you there. I can tell you all the right things, but in the end, only you can change you. Only you can make the choice. Only you can believe. Do you want to be a slave or do you want to be free? And if you want to be free, then I have some tools for you. Anyways, I'm going to do my best to stick around. And I'm going to finish this book, and I will leave it for you because I did promise that I would. So thank you everyone for watching this video.